So today we'll discuss about the concept of SQL Loader. Okay, so especially we'll dedicate our session to SQL Loader today. So now
Okay.
we have to understand what is SQL Loader. Okay, what is the purpose and how do we design. So the basic
Hmm.
thing is, what first of all, what it is, right? So very simple. It's a software utility provided by Oracle database specially. This comes with this comes with a database functionality. Even if you install Oracle database independently, you'll get a SQL Loader. It is not specific to Oracle e-business suite. It is specific to Oracle database. Okay,
Yes.
so it's a utility provided by Oracle database for the conversion of for the purpose of let's write here the purpose of uploading files into tables in a very efficient manner. In efficient manner.
Okay.
That's the purpose.
Okay.
So if not this, what is other? Let us say you're saying that SQL Loader we use for the purpose of loading the files into tables, but do we have any alternate? Yes, we do have. The alternates are, let me write here. The alternates to SQL Loader are, because in the real time there are chances that some developers may not prefer SQL Loader, or maybe because of some design or whatever the reason, maybe they would have used some other things also. The
Hmm.
other alternatives are this one, util file API. Okay, and there is something called
Hmm.
external table concept. External table. This is also another one which we can use it for the purpose of loading the files into tables.
Okay.
Util file will be used, but external table I never come across. Very, very, very rare case. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So what do you require using to work on SQL Loader? Now we understand what it is, what is the purpose, but how do we design, right? Let us understand how do we design
Okay.
and what all files you require. So how do we develop, right? How do we develop or design or build? So this
Hmm.
requires two things. One is data file and the control file. To work on the SQL Loader
Okay.
as a developer, you require two things. One is data file and a control file. Data file will be provided by the business users or third-party
Okay.
systems. Because
Okay.
you will not create your own data, right? So you just need to build a particular SQL Loader file such a way that it will read the data file and upload into database table. So as a developer, you will be building your control file based on the data file. So what is a data file? Data file can be of any format. It can be fixed length or
Hmm.
delimiter based.
Okay.
Delimiter base means it can be comma separated, it can be dollar separated, it can be piping symbol separated, right? Where is that piping symbol? Yeah, piping symbol separated, or it can be tab separated, right? These are
Hmm.
delimiter based. And coming to fixed length, so in the fixed length, each column is of fixed length.
Yes. Of
That's a
fixed
fixed length.
size.
So when you design a
Yes.
control file, you have to know how the format of your data is. Then only you can design your control file.
Okay.
Okay, let us say if your data file is delimiter based, you have to design control file accordingly. If it is a fixed length, you have to design accordingly, because this control file will analyze the data. Based on that, it will upload the data into database table. So it has to clearly know how many columns are there, how they are separated, what is their data type. Then only your control file can read it. Okay,
Okay.
so the file extension of the control file generally will name it as .ctl. Okay, the control
Yes.
file extension generally will be .ctl. And what is the tool we have to use it to design the ctl file? We don't have any separate tool or special tool from Oracle. We just use notepad editors, notepad or notepad plus plus, whatever the word processing editors.
Yes.
And the programming language, the language how the control file coding will be there, it is similar to SQL coding. Similar, it's not same, similar to SQL coding.
Full coding.
Okay,
Yes.
that's it. So generally any developer, generally even the business user can also easily understand this one. Okay, but again it depends upon your control file, how complex your data file. Based on that, you have to design the control file. Okay, So let's go through the PPT, then we can still have a discussion on this.
Okay.
SQL Loader, and it's a utility from the Oracle. And when you design your particular SQL Loader stuff, so it, as of now, we just discussed that it will require data file as well as control file. But as a developer or a business user, when you run your program, nothing but what we do is now, as of now, we are discussing SQL Loader concept independently. But in the ERP environment, what you do, we'll register SQL Loader as a concurrent program. So when a developer, when a business user runs a concurrent program, or when it is auto scheduled, what happens is it will generate log file as well as byte file or discard file. What exactly is all about is, let us say you have provided some data file and you ran your program, and how do you know the output of your program? Nothing but whether, like, you, let us say you have 100 records, and how do you know that these 100 records are loaded into table or not? So using the log file, we can clearly identify what happened to my data, whether these 100 records were loaded or not. If only 50 were
Hmm.
loaded, what is a, like, which 50 are rejected, all those things. Let us say you have 100 records,
Yes.
there are 75 records
Hmm.
which were loaded properly, but 25 got rejected. But which 25, how do you know? So what happens is this SQL Loader utility will clearly send them to, it will generate another file called bad file. So in the bad file, it will have 25 records. So as a business user or developer, you need to identify those particular records in the bad file, and then based on, you need to
Hmm.
re-prepare your data. Simple. So that's how we
Okay.
can easily identify which records were rejected and why they were rejected in the bad file. So in the bad file, actually, it will have a
Yes.
bad record. Simple. It's a bad record. It will have it. So in the log file, it will
Okay.
show how many processed, how many rejected, and what is error also. Generally, it tells you the record number also.
Okay.
Okay. Structure of the
Okay.
data file. This is one of the fixed length data file. This is how the structure will be like.
Okay.
Each particular column will get separated by a fixed length, and it is a delimiter base, which are separated by piping symbol,
Hmm.
right? So what is the coding of
Okay.
the SQL loader? So this is a SQL loader coding. If you just see, it's similar to the normal SQL coding. The first keyword we have to use in the control file is load data. Load data is a keyword. Load data in file
Ye-
followed by file name. Nothing but from where you want to read the data. Because the SQL loader is a
Hmm.
utility which requires data file as an input. We have to provide the
Hmm.
location of your data file in your system.
Hmm.
Okay. So dynamically we can
Yes.
provide this as a parameter also, or we can hard code the parameter also, hard code the value also. Okay. Load data in file, append. So in this one you have set of options here: insert, append, replace, or whatever it is, right? Append. So each will have its own
Okay.
functionality. If you just mention insert, it will, like, eradicate, it will remove the existing data. I'll just simply insert. Append will append, it will not disturb the existing data, it will just append the existing, it will just simply insert the new records there.
Yes.
And the truncate and replace, I really don't remember, but append and insert, these are the difference.
Okay.
Okay. Into table followed by your table name, we need to mention in which table you want to upload. And now here you have to mention to the SQL loader control file how the data is provided, because it doesn't know about data file, right? It just knows the file name, but we have to mention how they are how the data is provided. This particular sample is for the purpose of data file, which in which they are separated by piping symbol. Fields terminated,
Yes.
nothing but columns separated by piping symbol, optionally enclosed by double quotes or enclosed in, right? Nothing but generally, like, like, assume that you have your customer name in which
Hmm.
you may have double quotes also. Let us say you have some special names, like, from the French users or Spanish users, they may have they have a single quotes in their names also, right?
Hmm.
Or maybe general example is like, the customer names or a product names or items name which may have a double quotes in their or single quotes in their particular values, right?
Hmm. Okay.
So to mention that, like, what happens is, like, very simple. Let us say if you want to write the insert command in the normal SQL statement, and you want to insert a customer name in his name it is having a single quote in the name, how do you insert? You need to provide them, right? You need to enclose them properly, then only the hyphen, what you say, the special symbol will get uploaded, right? Else it will not get uploaded. Single quote, I meant to
Yes.
say single quote, right?
Yes.
Right. So that's how we have to mention. And this is continuation of that.
Hmm.
We may just mention here item number, quantity, and all these things, right?
Hmm. Okay.
Trim will just remove the spaces actually. Okay, trim just removes the spaces. We just need to mention what is the
Yes.
data type. So these are your database columns, and these right side are data types, columns and data types. And for generally, like we can also mention default value. Can you see your division code? Let us
Okay.
say while inserting data, assume that like from your data file you don't get, if you don't get that value, even if you want to insert some value by default, then you can insert that also.
Okay.
Okay, there are some special
Okay.
keywords we have to learn for the SQL loader.
Mm-hmm.
So here we can just need to mention what is your in file and followed by your file name, right? In file star specifies the file is found in the control file, not in the external file. In file can be used to send the file path and file name as a parameter when registered as a concurrent program. We'll see this.
Okay.
Yes. In this one, the fields are terminated by comma.
Yes. CSV
Okay,
file.
very simple. Low data
Hmm.
in file, fields separated by comma, and you can also provide data within the control file. But generally, this is not actual requirement because your data file is always a dynamic, right? So you cannot hard code your data within the SQL loader. If you are providing your data within the SQL within the control file, then you can mention in file as asterisk. Okay. Else you have to
Hmm.
mention your dynamic
Hmm.
file name. Okay.
Okay.
This approach is not followed. It's literally not usable approach in the real time.
Okay.
Okay. And now, yeah. So here, if you mention dollar in file, if you mention dollar file, what happens is we can when you register a concurrent program, you
Hmm.
also need to mention a parameter, and to that particular parameter you need to pass your file name.
Okay.
Okay. Because what happens is now let us say if you hardcode the file name, what will happen in the production environment? You may have a different path. In the normal development environment, you may have a different path. In the UAT, you will have a different path. So if you hardcode your control file in file name, that's it, right? It's of no use. Or maybe what you have to
Yes.
do, every time you have to change your control file whenever you migrate to the next environments.
Yes.
That's how it will happen. And this is all the
Okay.
description of each particular functionality, like insert, append, this all stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Into table. What is into table? Is required to identify the table to belong into the into
Into
table.
table, sorry, not into in total, it's into table.
It's like a,
Yeah,
it become a one word. Into table apps, but
yeah,
these apps refer to the
yeah,
schedule
yeah.
and budget is tables.
Uh,
Okay.
Okay, generally we prefer to use append because insert should be used only
Hmm.
if it is empty. Generally, we always prefer to
Hmm.
use append.
Yes, we append we will be
Generally, by
using. Yeah.
default, we just go with append because what we always do is like first of all load the data into staging table. Then like what you do, perform the processing, and then like what we do is we sometimes it all depends upon the business requirement. Either we remove all the data in the staging table of once your total logic is done, or sometimes what we do is we'll just update them with a particular flag so that you can know that okay, this got processed, something like that. So historical
Okay.
purpose or maybe the business purpose, what we do is we always just will not remove the data from the staging table. That's the reason we
Okay.
always prefer to use append rather than the truncate or replace. If you use replace, the existing
Okay.
data will get replaced with the new data.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
Same thing, story, same story. Yeah. So what we can do is we can just design some samples and then based on that we can still discuss the things.
Yes.
So what we do is like for learning purpose, we'll try to understand two approaches of running the program also. First of all, let us design, then we can discuss about how to run it.
Yeah.
And this is very much important one, SQL loader. Okay.
Yes.
So either we can use a new table or we can create our own table. Better we'll create a new table. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. See, you're right. So create table, sample underscore table, serial number, which is number, name.
We can take an apps tables also, right? I was thinking to do an apps.
You tell me if it is an apps table, which we cannot work on a base table, right? We have to
Yeah.
use interface tables. We should not insert the data into interface apps table directly, right? It's your apps interface table. You have to do it.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Okay.
Mm. So this is a first program. So I don't want to discuss about
Yeah.
apps now. First of all, understand SQL Loader. Then you can understand about apps.
Okay. Okay.
That's the reason.
Sure.
So we'll go with a very basic sample. This is my table.
Hmm.
Okay. Name is already used. Acha. We already created this one. Okay. We already have this one, right?
Hmm.
Let's say I'll make it as table 2. Very simple. We just have 2 columns. Now our
Yes.
database table is created. The next thing is data file. So right. So what we do is we'll just prepare our data file now. I'll just say
Hmm.
data.csv. I'm going with the CSV now. And now here we
Hmm.
need to mention the column names. Better for our understanding purpose, we always need to mention the column name so that while processing your data file, you can easily understand, okay, what is the value of a particular column. I'll just say name. Okay. Okay. 4 names, 3 names, right? Now
Hmm.
our data file got created. Now as a SQL loader design, what all we require? Now we have our data file, and now technically to design control file you require data file. Not only data file, what all you require database table also. You require data file
Yes.
as well as database table. Without having database table you cannot design your control file. Very simple. Now our so the inputs which are required for control file is ready, data file is ready, and database table is also ready. Now we just need to design our control file. So I'll just design the control file xxif underscore data.ctl
Yes.
control file.
Yeah.
So load data in file. Now we can mention the hard coding of the file, or you can dynamically pass it. So time being, I'll just hard code the file. So now to run the SQL loader, you have to first of all copy the data file to server,
Yes.
right? Now what we do is we have to understand from where to run it, right? So there are different ways.
Yeah.
What we can do is we can choose a particular location. So I prefer to use FND location to where, right? And here maybe you can use any folder, bin or these kind of things, or maybe generally in the real time what may happen is they always prefer to use the instance top, inst top, and here from here they'll generally create your data file data file locations. Now let us say I'll just create new. I'll just say SQL or maybe what do you call? I'll just say Ariba data.
Hmm.
Do you know Ariba is a ERP?
Yes. Yes. You have told now.
Yeah, Ariba is a ERP from SAP. Actually, initially Ariba was
Yeah.
independent ERP, but later SAP bought it, and now it's a cloud-based ERP also. SaaS-based model is provided in the Ariba. It's one of the famous ERP
Right.
for a small, medium-scale enterprises. Load data in file.
Hmm.
This is my location now. I have to mention my file name
Yes.
also, right? I have to mention file name
Ye-
also. What I will do is I'll
Yes.
copy the file xxif. So whenever you're copying data file, always copy in a text mode. So this is very much important, very much important. Okay, it has to be copied in
CS.
data. I mean, no, this one I'm saying text mode.
Yeah.
File extension doesn't matter until unless it is not binary. File extension doesn't matter.
Okay.
I copied my file in text mode. Now the next thing
Hmm.
is, yeah, load data in file into, I think in
Dot file name you have to put, right?
load data in file. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah. Dot.
file
Yeah.
name
File name.
into table.
Yes.
So let me just get the table fields.
Into table.
Yeah, fields separated
Yeah,
by
separated by
comma,
comma
right?
and
And then
enclosed.
I need to mention this one. So let me get the syntax. Even I don't remember all these things. What I can do is I can just see the existing samples. Get the existing samples, and based on that we can just try to design the sample. Right, fields terminated by this one, right?
Mm,
Oh, this should we have to use append into, right?
yes.
Append into table, append into
Table
is
table name.
table name, field
Yes, most.
separated by, and then our column names, right? See, directly column names you can
Yes.
mention. Just mention your database column names.
Yes.
Serial number, comma, name. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, control file is ready. So the problem is you cannot validate your this particular logic and this particular control file syntax until unless you run it.
Yes.
Now what we can do?
We have to move the control file.
So here one more thing I want to tell you, the approaches of running it, right? So we were discussing the approaches
Hmm.
of running CTL file. The first thing is using SQL Loader utility directly. Other one is using
Okay.
concurrent program. The first one we'll try to understand now. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll copy my control file into the same location. Generally what we do is we don't prefer to copy. See, if you want to run control file as a concurrent program, what you have to do is this has to be available in the bin folder of any of your particular top. If you want to run
Yes.
the control file as a concurrent program, it should be available in the bin folder. Okay. If you want to run independently, then your control file can be available at any place.
Okay.
Okay, clear? That's the reason now what
Yes.
I can do is I can just simply copy my control file into this location. Now I'll copy this
Okay.
location. I'll open the putty. 1 minute. So where is that? Okay. Now I'm in this location, right? I have these two data files. These two files I have. Okay. So just type the command SQL LDR. Just first of all, just type it and run it. So if
Okay.
it gives some output like this, it means that the SQL Loader utility is accessible to your user. In some of the environments, what happens is in the real time, your user may not have access. What you have to do, you always need to execute the environment file. Always,
Okay.
always execute the env file. Generally, it is provided by DBA.
Okay.
DBA will provide you the environment file, and even if DBA doesn't provide also, because like there are some minor things, like if you are a fresher to your project, they will provide you everything. The remaining thing, and if you are experienced person, they will not say you everything, and you can't even ask these basic things to them. We have to learn it, right?
Yes.
So what we do is generally
Yes.
in any environment, which environment you take it, always the env file will be available in your Apple top. But how do you
Okay.
know Apple top? That is another story. Now they'll say that okay,
Yes.
this is your generally like for our DBAs, what they do is they just provide you the instance name and the TNS name. That's it. They will not provide any information, and we can't even ask them because we doesn't need to ask them because we can easily find out everything. What I will do is if let us
Yes.
if I want to know, assume that like they forgot to mention the Unix box details or something like that. What we can do is just click on about this page. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Now click on page context.
Okay.
And here it will clearly mention what is your instance details. Now can you see I have my this location, it is telling this is a place where my database is available,
Yes.
right? So generally what I can do, I can just go to this location. I mean nothing but now by just seeing this I can understand, okay, my database is located in this location. Now in our Unix box we just have only one Unix instance is available. That's the reason, like it just
Yes.
have slash. But in the real time what will happen is it will not have just like it will your instance will not be just under the root. It will be somewhere. What happens is it will have some user account, let us say u09 followed by your instance. Something like this it will be there. That is
Yeah.
for sure. Your user
Yes.
account
Yes.
followed by your username or something. So based on that, I can easily understand, okay, this is a place where it have the appropriate content. Not only this, there are some database table from where you can find where you can find some information also. So last time
Okay.
what happened was like I just have the only front end details and I don't have the backend
Hmm.
details. So I don't have an option to ask the DBA also. I was like I know the app's password, but I don't know the TNS details. What I can do? Very
Okay.
simple. I can go here and this is my TNS details.
Yes. Host name. Yes. Service name. Yeah. Service port.
Yeah, and other story I'll tell you. Like we have I have the Unix box access, but I don't know the front end details. Like I was like in our Unix box we have 5 instances actually. In our single Unix box we have 5 Oracle instances which were running. So I need to
Okay.
find out one of the instance details. What I have done is like just go to your Unix box, and here after the username. So whatever the instance name which you are now in our case it is VIs, right? But the real time what they do is they will have the instance name here, like a dev uat
Hmm.
prod something like that. So go to your index box,
Okay.
go to the place wherever you have the appropriate name. Now I have my instance name, right? Now this is my instance name. VIs is in our case it is VIs. Let us say it is production. So nothing but PR. It will have a PROD. After that,
Yes.
once you have the PROD here, now what we can do if you want to know the TNS details, what I can do. So now Aura AS means it will have application server details. If it is Aura DB, it will have a DB details, right? Generally
Yes.
in our training instance they clearly mention AS and DB. In the other environments it depends upon your DB how they design. So now I can go to DB. Now I can go to Oracle folder, VIs again, DB. Now here apps.st data. These data files, all DBFs are database files. Whatever the transaction which you are performing, always they will get loaded into these data files, but it's not non-readable. You cannot just read it. If
Yeah.
you just open it, you cannot read it. Okay, and take st, go to this location. Now here this is your instance name, this is your database instance name, sorry, version name. 1110 is our database version. Now here
Yes.
very simple, network admin TNS, it should be there somewhere. Got it? I can just
Yes.
open the TNS and this is my TNS details. Yes, this is my instance details. So now if you just have Unix box you can get your TNS, and if you just have front end, from there you can get TNS. So there are all vice versa cases you'll come across.
Okay.
Clear? Yeah, will not waste further.
Yes. Yes.
Let's go to the main thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now it provided this information. Why I'm telling this one? Because in
Hmm.
like what happens is like while running your program, you may not remember the exact syntax, but at least you just remember SQL loader. That should be enough. And the remaining thing will be
Yes.
automatically provided here. That's the reason what we can do. So SQL loader is a command, user ID, and then followed by control. That's it. What is the way we have to execute? This is the way we have to execute. So here let me write SQL loader, SQL LDR, user ID
Hmm.
is equal to username password, control file. You have to mention your CTL file name.
Yes.
Oh, we went somewhere. Okay,
Yeah.
CTL. Okay, notes. Control file. This is my file name. Okay, this is how I have to execute. It should be in a single line. SQL LDR user ID is equal to app/apps, control file is equal to control file name. That's it. Execute from the putty. Right. Now
Yes.
which location I'm already there in the same location. Even if you're in different
Yes.
location, still it will work because in the control file you are clearly mentioning what is the path.
Yes.
It mentions it provided some output. Leave about that. Just refresh here. It generated 2 files, right? Log file and bat file.
Yes.
So whenever it generates bat file,
Yes.
it means that there is something wrong in your data file or maybe control file. Now open the log first. Open the log file, and log file name will always be same as your data file, but with extension .log.
Yes.
And it clearly mentioned that three rows inserted, but one row not loaded due to data errors. Okay, three rows are loaded,
Yes.
and actually it is telling that you have 4 records. But just observe how many records we have in our control
Two.
file.
Two. No, three.
It is having 3, but it is telling 4
Three record.
because it is considering the column, this particular first one as also a row.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So that was the issue.
Yes.
I think that was the issue. So now
Hmm.
this is our log file. Observe the bad file and just see which record got rejected. Can you see? It clearly is telling that which
Yes.
record got is rejected.
Yes.
Now, so what is the solution for this one? Very simple. So here somewhere you'll have an option. Option skip is equal to 1.
This is not our file, maybe. Yeah,
Yes,
this one. Back.
yes. That is not our file. Just mention the option skip is equal to 1.
Okay, right. Okay.
That's it.
Yes.
This is a
So
solution for that
first one.
problem.
Okay.
We have to mention option skip is equal to 1 means it will skip the first record.
Hmm.
See, generally, like, why do you require column name? Because now in our case, this is a very simple data file. Even if I can just simply remove a column names also. But in real time, what may happen is you may have at least column more than 10 or maybe 30 columns
Hmm.
also. But it becomes very difficult for you to identify which column belongs to which one. And also now other thing is you can open your SQL, you can open your CSV file using Excel sheet, right? Generally, what happens is we always prefer to design our CSV files using Excel sheet. Just observe here. Right now, when you open the data file using Excel sheet, you can clearly have the column name, so it becomes very easy for the business user to design this particular content.
Yes.
That's the reason. And not only that, having a column name is always an advantage for these developers also. Let us say if you're getting some issue in a particular column number 15, how do you identify? Like using Notepad++ is very difficult. Okay, so it's
Yes.
preferable to have the column names. Okay,
Yes.
let's move the control file again,
Hmm.
text mode, and rerun it. Now here we have these all files, right? I'll just remove the log file. I'll remove the bad file. Now see how many files we have. We have just 2 files now. Again, rerun the program. SQL Loader user ID and control file. Right?
Yes.
Now it just mentioned something.
Yeah.
Go to the file. Now there is no bad file this time. So if you don't have bad file, it
Yeah.
means that all the data got inserted successfully. 3 rows.
Yes.
Now it is
Three
telling only
rows.
3 rows. And now it is telling that only
Yes.
how many read? It is just said 3 read and 1 skipped.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
And here also it clearly mentions it from what is the control file name and what is the data file name also. By just seeing the log file of your particular SQL Loader output, you can clearly find out what are the inputs and what are the outputs of this particular program.
Yes.
And it clearly tells you which table also. Table. Okay. So now we can also observe from
Yes.
database side, like whether it got loaded or not. Initially 3 and next 3, total 6.
Oh. So how many times you have been run? That many times the data has been inserted.
Because we mentioned append.
Yes.
We mentioned append. If you don't mention append, if instead of append, if you mention insert or other thing, then it will vary. Replace. If you mention replace, it would have been different. Now let us say
Okay.
if I mention insert, just see what will happen. Insert will work only if your table is empty. It's only first time. If you just mention replace,
Yes.
then it will suffice.
Okay.
Let us say if I provide,
Hmm. LS. Hmm.
right, now check the data, 3 records only. So it
Yeah.
removed the existing 6 and it now inserted the new 3.
Yes.
So, but you should be very much careful whether you should use a replace or append. Okay, so
Yes.
I prefer to use append. Whether someone says or not, better go with append. That's it. And if they say that
Okay.
data is huge and no, we don't want, or better, what we can do is we need to get a clarity from the business users whether you want to remove the existing particular content or not. Other thing, what we can do is
Yes.
now Okay, we'll get to some scenario later, but as of now, this is the concept of a very basic, simple program. Now we'll try to just find
Okay.
out how do you run the second approach, concurrent program approach.
Yes.
Okay, so now concurrent program approach, the CTL file has to be moved to appropriate bin folder. So in our case, what we can do is I prefer to use fnd top bin folder. So just move your data file here. Yes. Now, okay, let's move this one, and again text stuff. Okay, done. Clear.
Yes.
Now click on home. Now register.
Hmm. Both CSV and control files should be moved to bin folder, right?
No, data file can be any place. Data file can be any place.
Okay.
I have not changed the path of my data file. Data file is still in our IF folder. What you say,
Oh,
the
Ariba
Ariba
data
folder.
only.
Yeah, Ariba folder.
Okay.
Concurrent, executable. Now here I have to mention SQL Loader,
Yes.
and also you have to mention the control file name without any
Control.
file extension.
Yes.
And here what happens is you need to mention the appropriate application name, the place where you have copied your control file.
Control file. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
Concurrent program, and output doesn't matter. So by default you just go with the text.
Application. Okay. Yes.
Okay. No parameters for this as of now.
Yeah.
Okay. Go to application developer. Okay, good, completed. Click on view output. So no output will generate. Okay. For SQL loaders, you'll never get any output. Okay.
Yeah.
And details. So using details, you can just find out okay who kicked it and how much time it took and all those things. And now click on view log,
Hmm.
and from here you can get the log. The same log which we got it from our while running the SQL loader from a command prompt, we got some log, right? The same way you will get a log here. It will clearly mention where is a control file and where is a data file, right? Can you see data file? Now data file is still in the
Yes.
Ariba, but for this one,
Okay.
the bad file and discard file in a different location, right? The bad file
Yes.
and discard file were generated in our instance top log folder. And like for each concurrent program, always the concurrent program output will have output file or log file will have starting with O, followed by concurrent program ID, followed by out. This for the output
Okay.
file, actually, output file. Now generally, like
Okay.
when we ran SQL Loader independently using our SQL Loader utility, it generated .log file, but here it is generating .oet file.
Okay.
It will be different. Three
Hmm.
rows, three rows got loaded. That's it.
Yes.
It will be same three again, right? No change. Now let us say I'll try to insert a new data and let us observe how it works. Hey, 1 minute, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Continue.
So now we'll just modify our data file, and now what we want to do. Okay, and one more thing, we just want to see how the bad file will get generated. Okay, let us see that. Now
Yes.
this is my data file. So where we have to move the latest data file to Ariba folder,
Yes. Text.
text content. Now rerun this one. And generally, like in the real-time environment, also what you have to do is It is not just about your designing or coding skills. You also need to have a clear understanding of, I mean, you need to have a very good debugging skills also, because that saw that, that saves a lot of time for you. Let us say if you're getting some error, how do you debug it? If you know the debug, if you have the proper debugging skills, it becomes very easy for you to fix the bugs in a very faster manner. That plays a very crucial role in the production environments. Okay, got it?
No, no. Hello?
Yeah,
Hello?
yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now can you continue from some few words is that you have told.
No, what I'm saying is like, see, generally in the as a developer, or maybe specifically in a e-business suite application, so it's not about just
Hmm.
designing a program. You should have a very good debugging skills also. When you get an error,
Okay.
where to trace it? Whether you have to check the data file, whether
Okay.
you have to check the control file, whether you have to check the output file or a log file. And
Yes.
for each program, you'll have a different way of debugging it. So we need to have a clear idea. Until unless you know the technology properly, nothing but technology in a sense. Now let us say SQL Loader works in a different way, and XML Publisher works in a different way. RTF works in a different
Yes.
way. PL/SQL package works in a different way. So for each one, technically, if you are clear, like when you run your program, where exactly will generate the log file, where exactly it will generate the output file, these things you have to be very much clear. And what will be the name of your file name? These all things. Okay.
Okay. I think the bat file will come.
So generally, like the location of this particular one is instance top log folder, right? Echo
Yes.
inst top,
Mm-hmm.
and here log folder, and Apple out concurrent program and out, right? It'll have all the out files here. Now here, if you observe, generally the concurrent program output directory, like if you try to open, that will take much time.
Okay.
So what we prefer to do is always just copy, like once you run your program, let us say you're getting some issue. What I prefer to do is, now you see it clearly completed in a warning. So generally when SQL Loader errors out in a warning also, you need to understand that it is some issue. Okay, now check the
Hmm.
log. Now we got this issue, right? Now bad file and output file are in the same location. It is telling like
Hmm.
that. Okay, now one row not loaded due to data errors. What I prefer to do is, don't open the file directly from WinSCP. Don't open that, it will never work. It will take much time.
Hmm.
It will take much time.
Okay.
What you do is, like generally for your user account, generally you'll have a user home directory, right? Now in my case it is
Yeah.
home Apple manager, right? And
Okay.
in this one, create your own directory. Let us say in our case, I'll just create a directory here.
Hmm.
So what I do is copy this location, and from here, now I know what is the location of my log file.
Yes.
Okay, copy.
Yeah. Home.
That's it.
Apple Manager. Okay.
Now open the file. This is
Yeah. If I
easier
go
way.
to the yes.
This is easier way.
Okay.
This record got rejected, and now
Yes.
generally here somewhere it will mention which record number also. If you have seen properly, can you see record 4 rejected? It clearly told that record 4 rejected,
Yeah. Yes.
right? So it doesn't need to go to the log file and find out everything. It clearly mentioned which record 4. Record 4 got rejected. That's it.
Yeah.
Now let us try again. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see now what it will tell you.
Sorry.
Copy the latest data file. right? Now check the log.
Yes.
Now can you see it clearly mentioned record 2456 got rejected. Very,
Yes.
very simple.
Yes.
That's it.
It's showing even the use trailing null calls, even showing that also.
Yeah.
Column not found before. In a control file, we have to use, right? Training null calls.
Yeah, trailing. See, that is trailing null calls is only like if your last column is empty. Trailing null call doesn't mean this empty record,
Okay.
isn't it?
Okay.
I think that is a thing. Trailing null. See, trailing means last letter, right? Simple.
Yes.
So it's not about record. It's not about empty record. Even if you use trailing null call,
Enter.
we'll get the same issue.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So generally, like
Yes.
when
Yes.
you're working the SQL loader, always observe your log file. That will provide good amount of information. And then bad file.
Yes.
Now, like why we discussed about the log file, because now let us say you're saying that like if to the business users you'll say that okay boss, these are the records got rejected, and that guy that guy will ask you, you know, like can you tell me what are those data file? He will ask you to provide the all the rejected record data file. Then what do you provide? It becomes very difficult, right? So that's the reason what Oracle has
Yes.
done. It clearly provided which records got rejected,
Oh,
so that
yes.
it
For
make it
that
easy to
bad
provide to
file.
the business users.
Yes. Hmm.
So this is a concept of SQL loader. Now, as of now, see, the approach is always try to go from the basics. Don't get into advanced things. I will not. I don't prefer that. Get the basics clear.
Okay.
Simple. Get the basics clear first of all. Simple thing was, if you want to learn a language, will you learn the grammar first, or will you learn the alphabets first, or will you learn the words first? In general, it generally
Yes.
starts with a letter. Now see, at the advanced stage it is different, but just consider LKG age. What you do, you prefer to learn alphabets. Of course it will be different manner of teaching, but what I'm saying is technically what I prefer to do is always try to understand the purpose. This is very much important. If you understand the purpose, learning any tool will becomes easy. Until unless you don't know the purpose, it's just like, you know, like in Telugu we have something, right? Like what do you call, galilo deepam pettinate. It's like, you know,
Ah.
putting a lamp in air.
Yes.
Simple. So
Yeah.
remember this. Always remember the functionality. Even I try to learn that way, because what happens is if you understand the essence of that, it becomes very easy for to, you know, like maintain our brain on that easily. And when you get a
Yeah.
requirement as a developer, you know, one more thing will happen. It's not about your coding skills. You need to know your analytical skills, and you need to have your appropriate skills to tell, like someone says some requirement, you have to clearly come out with, oh boss, this is how you have to implement. You should not go with that particular approach. You have to clearly tell that. How do you know that? Until unless you know the purpose of a particular tool properly, you cannot tell that.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So SQL
Yeah.
Loader is a utility which is preferred when you have your content in a data file, and if you want to load the data file into table, this is one of the utmost used, better, perfect approach in the ERP, e-business suite
Yeah.
file.
Using
So
utility.
yeah. Now in the next coming sessions, what we do is like we have lot number of interfaces. Like I'll see, I have a ready-made document for that, but what we do is I'll show you one particular sample and then I'll provide you my documents. So
Okay.
what we do is like we have PO interfaces, we have AP interface, we have item interface, we have receivable interface. The lot number of interfaces, right?
Yes. Yes.
Sales order interface, and we have the
GL.
supplier interface. Yeah, GL interface is one
Yeah.
of the utmost used sample in the trainings because it is very easy for the developer to understand.
Yes.
Okay, and other approach which I want to teach you is like using Unix shell script, invoking
Hmm.
concurrent program. Okay, and processing files dynamically.
Yeah.
I mean to say, what exactly we will be dealing in this particular sample is, sorry, spelling wrong. What exactly we'll do in this one is, see now let us say I have 10 files here. I have 10 files in a particular location. Now when I run my
Hmm.
program, automatically it has to process 10 records, 10 files. Now, as of now, what is
Yes.
happening? We know that SQL Loader can read only one file at a time. Okay, whether if you hard code,
Yes.
it will be the same file again. If you dynamically pass the parameter, still what will happen? Every time you have to pass it. Now, in the real time, what may happen is, let us say you don't know what is the file name, and you don't want to enter the file
Okay.
name also. The thing is,
Yeah.
I don't know the file name, but business user says that I don't want to, like I don't want to enter the file name. You read it dynamically from a particular
Hmm.
location. I'll provide all my files in a particular location. You just read it.
Okay.
How do you do it?
Yeah.
Clear? So this is one of the very, very good,
Yes.
good particular functionality which I learned. So I'll try to teach that. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
So what we do is we'll just discuss about one particular total full particular concept like a data file, staging table,
Hmm.
and the open
Hmm.
interface and all those things. So we'll make a single program to perform all these actions. It's not that we have to go with multiple programs one by one. In real time, what will happen?
Yes.
You cannot tell the business user, boss, run these four programs one by one and get me the output. It becomes very difficult, right? Generally, these will be scheduled
Yes. Yes.
programs. Interfaces generally will be scheduled
Yes.
programs. Okay.
Yes.
We may discuss some more samples on the SQL loader, then we'll discuss that. Because in the SQL loader, we have few more things to consider also. What are those? Because as of now, we just work with a very simple data file, which is a CSV format, right? And we
Yes.
I mean try to learn on the fixed length also. And generally, in a very rare case requirement, you may have to process XML file. This is a very rare case requirement. You have a XML file
Okay.
and you want to process that
Hmm.
using SQL loader.
Okay.
Using Oracle util file API also you can process it. Not util file, sorry. Like you have XML APIs, right? In the database.
Yes.
Using those APIs, you can do it. And if he's using a SQL loader, also we can do it. Other thing is using SQL loader, control the records insertion
Control.
and other functionalities like a default values, right? And insert the data into multiple tables. Single control file, you can use a single control file to load the data into multiple tables. Single
Okay.
control file and multiple tables. How do you do it? Nothing but like in sometimes what happens is, assume that your sales order header and lines. So business user says that I will provide you my data file in a single file. I mean to say, like, I will not provide two
Yes.
files, one for header and one for lines. I'll just provide a single file in which will have header as well as
Hmm.
line. So how do you differentiate?
Yes.
Header will have header will have some separate, like a particular column called H, and line will have a separate a particular column called L or something like that. So based on that, you need to identify which record should be
Yes.
inserted into headers and which record should be inserted into lines, something like that.
Yes.
Okay, those things.
Yeah.
Fine. So these are vast kind of topics and
Yeah.
interesting topics also. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And please help me with the aging report
Yeah. Sure.
samples with the. Thank you.
Where are we? Okay. Let's search this way then.
Okay.
Okay. Invoice aging report.
Yeah.
Receivables. Aging 7 buckets by account multi-fund accounts. Right.
Yes.
Let's see the first one. Invoice aging report. XML. Download this.
Send me my folder.
Right. So I hope it will be
Yes.
SQL based. And then can you see for everything just wrote a formula. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes. For
Okay, very
everything is
simple.
written.
The formula, they just wrote a formula, pass the due amount,
Yes.
pass the whatever the amounts, that's it. And from AP payment schedule, so they wrote like there is no GTT involved there is no temporary table involved. So it depends upon the what you say the appropriate module also, right? And in the before report trigger, they are calling a particular trigger, right?
Yes.
AP invoice package, something like this, and they have all these particular formulas.
Yes.
So I think this is the one which you
See,
are referring,
in
right?
this scenario, when if
Yours is AP invoice, right?
sorry,
Your is AP invoice, AR.
yeah, yeah, AP only.
This is the one. Then you have to refer direct solution. You have it,
See,
right?
sub inventory code. This is
Vendor side code.
this one. Sub inventory code is there in this? No. Columns that has been taken sub inventory item and description and UM unit of measure. It's behind the table. They have been taken mostly MTL MTL transaction parameter transaction something material transactions MTL material transactions sub inventory code.
Mm-hmm. So it's receivables, right? It's AP, right? You require AR then. You
Yeah.
require AR, I guess.
Oh yes. Yeah. This is APAR we need.
Yeah, we require this
Particular
one.
definition AR. Yeah. This one. Okay. Let's-
Yeah.
Yeah. Multi-found. Yeah. Last one we were seeing.
No data
Then
file
here.
here. No data
Yeah.
file approach. So then how are they providing data file this
Mm,
one? Very strange. Yeah.
for XDOs, you are providing data template, right? 100% that
Mm,
is.
yeah. This is the one which we require. Agent by account. By amount or whatever. Maybe we can just check this first one.
Yeah.
Agent 7 buckets, I think.
Okay.
Right? So in this one, what it is requiring? It requires ledger and all these things and order by, right? And as of which date, right? So it clearly mentioned, I was telling you, right? The comparison generally is date, or maybe if you want to provide a particular date, you can provide.
Hmm.
Right. That's it. Right. Hopefully it is RDF based, yeah. Right? It's RDF based. So go to which one? Yeah, right?
Receive. Yeah, AR only. Receivables. Yeah.
What's the name? ARX.
AR.
So this name may not be exactly same as your
GSW.
program name, okay? But always validate from your
G-
executable.
yeah.
ARX, RX, AGM, ARX,
G-
AGM.
GMW.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Dot RPS.
Okay. So when you're trying to open the standard report, always first of all connect to the apps, then only open it. Okay, it will not work.
Apps. Yes. Yes.
Mostly, like some reports still work, but generally it gives error without connecting to apps if you try to open.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So check the data model, and it will be too tough to understand. But what we can do is check the report records first.
Report. Reverse. Okay.
XCL MO reporting API initialize, and then initialize. Is it calling any of the? Okay, anyway, it's not required all these things, but so it have these number of options, these number of queries. Okay, now see, like by just using the standard RDF will solve the total issue. But what we have to do is like for this one, uh, it depends upon number of depends like the number of ways we can design. But here in your case, they just ask you to only few things, right? Generally,
Yes.
just observe the standard report. So in your case also it requires at least ledger or OU. Without that, it will not work. So okay, I got the error here. There should be some issue. Unable to open preference file. Okay, it generated, but it gave error. I don't. It's very strange. Okay, so it gave. Yeah, see, can you see customer name? Can you see the same thing, right? Everything is same.
Yeah.
See, actually, like in these scenarios, now here, if see now, in your case, what you can do is, what I prefer to do is like, first of all, understand aging purpose and all those things, and
Mm.
we just need to use the RDF only in this case. It's very difficult to re-implement this particular report from scratch. Literally, it will take months.
They are telling me to
Hmm. Yeah,
from scratch.
yeah. If they tell to implement from scratch, what we can do is still we can achieve it. It's not that we can. It's not achievable.
Mhm.
Okay. But these all
Hmm.
things, like we have a lot number of things, right?
Yes. Seeing this only, it's like
Yeah. These are all company cost, invoice. These are all the cost, I guess.
total cost. Yeah, from
Yeah.
material transaction only they are taking this all.
Hmm.
Actual cost, new cost.
Okay, I'll check it like how we have implemented. Okay.
Okay.
I hope in our case also we have just used the same standard approach and just design the change in the layout. Generally, that is how we do it.
Okay.
Mm.
Yes. Yes.
ओके
Yeah. Okay.
ठीक है
Yeah.
चलो
चलो bye.